Back here in studio with Matt Norlander, we saw the highlights, and this Auburn team just so deep, Matt, because you see Alabama tie it up, and you think, okay, this is going to be a close finish, and then Auburn down the stretch just pulls away.
They pulled away, and get this. Auburn never trailed in the game. Now, Alabama was able to come in, get it tight, get it tied in the second half when Auburn was facing some foul trouble, and I thought we might be destined for a classic finish in the final 30 to 45 seconds with the teams possibly trading leads. Auburn didn't let it happen. That's the big takeaway here. On the road, Bruce Pearl, by the way, his both wins in a 1 versus 2 matchup, both have come on the road. Yes. So he gets this done, and the fact that Johni Broome did not allow Auburn to get itself in a close game late when he's playing hurt. Baker Mazzara and Cardwell are both out of the game with foul trouble. Now, we saw some good stuff from Chaney Johnson, Denver Jones. They actually had significant contributions, one in the first half, one in the second half, but it was Broome overall. Like, this is the result that reinforces Auburn's the best team in the country. It's going to be the best seed in the NCAA tournament. Johni Broome, in my estimation now, still, he's the leader for National Player of the Year. Now, it's narrow. Cooper Flagg is right there. But this was the 4th time this season that Broome has had a game with at least 18 points, at least 14 rebounds, and at least 5 assists. His stat line was 19, 14, and 6. Guess what? He's had 4 of those. There isn't another player in the country with more than 1 right now. So Broome has been tremendous. It's just, he is so economical, Hakeem, in his game and how he gets it done. Supremely impressed by what the Tigers did here and reaffirming. Remember, a week ago, Auburn gets knocked off at home against Florida, and there was like, should they get bumped from the #1 ranking? I said no, that shouldn't be the case. Well, they didn't in the AP poll. They reinforced just how good they are by going on the road and beating a good Bama team who 5 of 26 from 3-point range. Tide could not get it done from deep at all.
No, they could not. And you look at Auburn and their 14 quad 1 wins. Johni Broome with 15 double-doubles this season. We see that he aggravates his left ankle, stays in there, battles through it. I mean, this is the definition of a gamer when you see him in there battling at the end of a game.
Yeah, really. I mean, extremely tough player. I've actually wound up, because he's had a couple of instances this season where he's had the ankle. He had a shoulder injury before. I've talked to Bruce Pearl multiple times this season about just Broome's mental makeup overall. Pearl's told me he's truly one of the most impressive competitors that he's ever had the pleasure of coaching, and you saw it here. Now, we'll see how much it is a factor for Auburn moving forward. Remember, Broome was out for the better part of 2 weeks. He came back and has been able to, continue to be the best player in the country, if not the 1B to Cooper Flagg's 1A, however you want to see it overall. But I thought him staying in this moment in the game late was the difference maker. Like, Hediford had some real dazzling plays, and he's a really fun freshman, but I thought Broome's presence here was important. Now, can he stay relatively healthy? Keep that in mind going forward. They need him at his freshest and strongest once we get to a month from now in March, Hakeem, but I'm really, really impressed by him. How can you not be?
He's fantastic. Johni Broome is fantastic, and the fact that he hangs in there and helps them win this game is remarkable in terms of what they've done this season. They've beaten every good team. They lost to Duke. They lost to Florida. They're bouncing back in these huge games with Bruce Pearl. When you look at Auburn and how dominant they have been this season, just go back 1 season to UConn, how dominant they were. They run all the way to the Final Four and win the national championship back-to-back. Is this a similar team? Is this a similar run for Auburn, or do you see holes in this Tigers squad?
They are built differently, for sure. From a resume perspective, Auburn is tracking towards some all-time stuff because of how good the SEC is. Auburn very well may set the single-season record for most quad 1 wins, and the quadrant system has only been around 5 or 6 years at this point, so we can't go back and look at what some of the great teams in the 2000s and 90s did because the quadrant system didn't exist. But to the broader point of your question, Auburn has a chance, a real chance here, to win a title, a national title, and have that run stack up with some of the most impressive champions we've seen in recent memories. UConn a year ago, start to finish, is in that group. Villanova in 2018 is in that group. You go back even further, you look at the likes of 2012 Kentucky, of course, 2009, 2005 Carolina. We're not there yet. We are a month out from Selection Sunday, but Auburn is building up something particularly impressive. If you wouldn't mind, let's talk Bama real quick here, Keith.
Yeah, we are, because we're going to bring up their schedule right now.
Do it.
Okay, we're going to bring up Alabama's schedule. I want to see how tough this schedule is. Auburn's schedule, remaining schedule, also very difficult. And when you look at Alabama's schedule, everybody currently right now is ranked, okay? It's Missouri, it's Kentucky, it's Mississippi State, it's Tennessee, Florida, and then they round out the regular season against Auburn. This is the toughest final 6 games you're going to see. This is ridiculous.
Now, and listen, everyone in the SEC has had a run of 5 or 6 games where it's been like this. But just, I mean, look at that. Look at
gauntlet.
It is a gauntlet. I talked to Nate Oates about this just a few days ago in the lead up to the Auburn game because he knew shooting well, performing well on the home floor was key for Alabama just to keep a real sense of momentum moving forward. Now, Alabama is a dangerous team. It's very, very good from beyond the arc when everyone's clicking. But Nate Oates, even he had mentioned to me on Wednesday that he had concern because across the board, the team had not been shooting as well as he had been hoped. Guess what? They didn't take advantage of their corners threes here. And now to have to turn around and go and run down, that's just a regular season. The SEC tournament awaits thereafter. And I do think, like, Alabama's going to take a couple more losses. That just feels inevitable because of how tough that schedule is. But I do think there are a few teams in the SEC, Hakeem, who will benefit once they get out of league play and go into the NCAA tournament and just step into a different environment altogether and just roll that, first 1, 2, 3 games. I think Alabama's going to be one of those teams. I was just a little bit disappointed on Saturday by the lack of consistency from Mark Sears. I didn't think he was a preseason All-American, preseason National Player of the Year at CBS Sports.com. Mark Sears. Well, Janai Broom has certainly ended that conversation overall. You get the game on your home floor. All credits to Auburn for how they dictated the conversation. Alabama would have loved to have gotten this game on its side into the 90s minimally. It couldn't get it done. Still a really, really good team, but just prep here. Just brace, Tide fans, because if you take another 2-3 losses, it's not going to be surprising. Was the number 2 team on the overall seed list going on Saturday.
Yep.
Still has a 1-seed resume. Let's be clear about that. But I think the potential for them to drop down to the 2 line in a month is certainly out there in a danger because of how tough that schedule is.
You took me right to my next question. It's like you should be hosting this segment. Perhaps one day you will. 6 games left on the schedule. What do they need to do rest of way here to hold on to a 1 seed, to remain on that 1 line?
In addition to the obvious answer being win the games.
Yes, but I mean 4-2,
yeah,
500, and you're still on the 1 line?
I think 4-2 is the target here because you've got so many teams that Tennessee, Texas A&M, knocking on the door.
Knocking.
Okay? The SEC had 5 of the top 6 teams in the reveal, the top 16 on CBS on Saturday afternoon. So, yeah, 4-2 for Alabama is going to definitely get it done because of the strength of schedule and the steepness of that slope. But keep that in mind. I do think that for Alabama, seeding might not be – you want to get the 1 seed, of course. You want to get the 1 seed. But because of the team's talent, offensive capability, this is the number 1 team in the country in points per game. It's number 2 in adjusted offensive efficiency at KenPom. If there are 1 or 2, I don't know if it ultimately will matter that much. Now, there's pride and just pure, seed line, what you would project to be. You want to be that. But don't get too bent out of shape if you wind up seeing yourself, Bama fans, if you see your team as a 2 seed once we get to Selection Sunday. I just need to see more consistency out of Mark Sears. LeBaron Philon had some decent moments on Saturday, but overall, like Grant Nelson, Chris Youngblood, like those guys had little quick moments in the game, but it just wasn't enough. Alabama had never had a game at home under Nate Oates where it failed to hold a lead at some point in the game. That happened for the first time on Saturday, and if that's not a statement that reinforces just how great Hakeem Auburn is, I don't know what does. That was a real display for the Tigers, who they're on a tier to themselves right now in college hoops.
First time beating 3 top 5 teams in a season in program history. Historic stuff for Bruce Pearl and the Tigers as they also improved to 7-0 in road games in SEC play. They are battle-tested. They are road-tested. They are ready for March, 30 days away from Selection Sunday.